Okay, there's no point in pretending like we haven't seen it. You saw Mark's video.
What did Rover, yep. The glitter bomb tracking thing for, I call it porch piracy, or porch pirates. You know what I mean?
I've never heard that term before. Is that a thing, or did you just make that up?
I heard somebody else say it, but yeah, porch pirates are people that, like, when you get a delivery to your house, especially today's internet shopping age, people will bring, stuff, lay it on your porch for you to get when you get home, but before you're able to get the package, somebody comes by on the sidewalk or whatever, runs up to your house and grabs your Amazon package or your whoever delivery package. But let's not pretend. I mean, everybody pretty much uses Amazon.
Yeah, especially here. There's some local shopping, but for the most part, Amazon is how we do business in the wild, remote West. Have you ever had it happen to you?
No, I haven't. No, to my knowledge, no one's ever stole a package from me. Is it stolen or stole a package?
I like stolen.
It's stolen, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you ever done it to anybody else? Have you ever stolen their package?
No, of course I haven't, man.
Well, I was just checking. I mean, you never know, and people change.
Have you ever done it?
No. Why would you ask that?
Because you made it weird for me. You're going to make it weird for you.
That seemed like a reasonable question when I asked it.
Got it. I see.
No, I hate theft, dude. It triggers something deep within me, and part of what I liked about Mark's video is that he opened by agreeing that he has that same visceral emotional response to people stealing crap from him.
You feel violated. That's the thing. I mean, it's like, this gets down to the root of the question, which is, do we own property? Like, does a person own property? And if so, then other people shouldn't take that property. And you're all, I'm sure, libertarian and weird about this, and you probably have big words that you say whenever...
It's so funny that you act like that, yet you agree with me on so many of these things.
I know, but you're just a little pious about it, if I'm honest.
No, it's okay. If I'm honest, you like cake and also eating it.
I do. This is totally true. Totally true.
And you know what?
What?
I am a little bit pious about it because there are only a couple of things that I think are just absolutely true in the world, no matter who you are, what you believe, God, no God, whatever. And I think that don't steal things from people is one of those just very morally clear universal things.
Well, I think you have to have it that way because if the idea of ownership of stuff and possession doesn't exist, then it literally is the strongest person gets all the stuff. It's either one or the other. There's this fine line. We either all agree that people can have things, whether it be land or, food or resources of some type. We all agree that people can have things and we are not to disturb that arrangement, or it's literally who gets the most stuff to beat up other people and take it.
Yeah, and we should talk about that more. But just on the very emotional level, before we get into all the philosophical stuff that's frustrating about theft, you use the word violated.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? The last time somebody stole stuff from you, how did it make you feel? What stuff went through your head?
Oh, man. Well, here's a very trivial example. So my wife and I were going up to Asheville, North Carolina to see the leaves. I can't remember if this was on our honeymoon or if this was like an anniversary. I don't remember, but we're on our way to Asheville, and we stop at a rest stop between Tennessee and North Carolina, somewhere in the Smokies or just out of the Smokies or something along those lines. And we go in to use the restroom, and I hung my sunglasses. I have some Costa Del Mar sunglasses that were very expensive by my standards, and we justify me paying $150, $200 for a pair of sunglasses because I used to wear glasses, and I'm pretty good about keeping up with them. And so this is an investment for me. So I hung the glasses on the rearview mirror, and we went inside, whatever, it's just run in the bathroom, run back, no big deal, didn't lock the doors. Came back, someone had opened the door and stolen the sunglasses from the rearview mirror. And I was about to be driving for another 4 hours or whatever it was, and I was angry, man. I was like, how can you steal? I mean, you just took it. It's crazy. So just anger. I mean, anger is I would say it's righteous anger. Like it's okay to feel angry in that situation, I believe.
May I probe the anger hole?
Probe the angry hole.
Thank you. So, were you angry because you had to buy new sunglasses now? Or were you angry on some more existential level?
Multiple levels. I mean, number one, I worked and swapped time for money. And so the dollars that I handed the person at the store to get these glasses represented time of my life that I invested in acquiring this thing. And usually I have a personal rule. If it's something I'm going to use every single day, then I'm okay with spending just a little bit more money than I normally would. And so things that fall into that categories would be a phone, sunglasses, shoes maybe, things of that nature. But I also want it to be something that, I've carefully selected. And, if I was a cowboy back in the day, it would have been a saddle. Like I would spend a lot of time picking out a saddle. So I spent time to get the money to buy this thing, purchased it, and then I use this thing every day. So there's two things there. I kind of developed this familiarity with the objects in my life that I use often. Like right now, if someone were to steal my laptop, holy cow, dude, that's a big deal, man. There's a lot of stuff on my laptop that I've worked with, and like I'm recording this file right now on the laptop. That's time I can get back.
They would be stealing future time from you as well.
Yeah.
In terms of what it would take to replace the work and the organization and getting it where you want it, as well as past time that you took to earn it and that you took to get it where you want it.
So I don't know if it's as much as the money aspect of it, it's the time it takes to make things right. And it's just like that person didn't want, let's say for the sunglasses, for example, let's say they were $200 and a person might make $10 an hour. That's 20 hours of labor.
Right.
That's a lot of work, right?
Yep.
So that person did not want to invest 20 hours to acquire the money to buy them. It's much easier just to wait and let Destin go to the bathroom and then just steal it from him. That's easier. But I just don't understand that, because I couldn't sleep at night if that's the way I operated. That's evil.
Yeah, and I know you'll disagree with me on this, and we don't have to go far down this rabbit hole, but that same moral thing that you feel there is why I'm generally in favor of much lower taxes. Other people have an idea for how they want things to be, so then they take things from people who earn money. And there's some things that are worth taxing, there's some things that aren't, so I won't say I'm for no taxes, but generally given the two options, I think we should tax each other less.
My gears are spinning here.
For people without an option.
My gears are spinning here. So you're basically equating taxes with theft. So what you're saying is...
Oh, you're doing that. I would equate some taxes with theft.
No, I mean, you've got me on my heels a little bit here, because, you stirred me up, you took me to an emotional place, and then you wanted to come back and have a philosophical discussion about...
You made it seem like it was intentional. I don't have some master plan in front of me, dude.
Well, my point is, I'm not up to speed mentally with where you're at. I'm trying to get there. I'm still in the angry hole place. So.
Well, I think they're both the same place, though. I mean, for me, okay, here's what does it for me. I bought a $150, weird about that number, maybe that's just back in the day what we were willing to spend, you and I. I bought a $150 car stereo for my 93 Isuzu Trooper. Here's what this car stereo could do, and I want you to hear me out on this. You could record MP3s onto a compact disc and then put the compact disc in this car stereo, and it would play the MP3s, like in their natural file. So it's like the first thing I ever had where I could make my own mix discs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It was huge. I mean, there was no iPods or anything in those days. This was a huge purchase for me. And I worked very hard, made some mistakes, figured out how to install it, got it all done. And one night, I'm laying in bed, and my dogs start yapping and barking. And I don't know, I kind of looked around the house, and everything was fine. And I got up the next morning, and sure enough, the car door has been tinkered with to, jimmy it open or whatever. And
it was locked.
In the dash, there's just a gaping hole. It was a 93 Isuzu Trooper, so is it ever really locked?
So they probably just, pounded their fist on the roof and it opened or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, vigorously, like that. And it just popped open. They knew the place to punch. And so there's this big hole in my dash, and they didn't even do a good job of removing it. They gashed and tore up the whole thing. So I'm emotionally angry because now my Trooper is worse than it was before I put it in. Is they destroyed that property. They took something that I saved up to buy. They took something that I had to put forth energy and time and call in a couple of friend favors, frankly, to get installed. And they took something that was a source of joy, just pleasure while driving around, listening to the music I want to listen to, instead of the stupid top 40 station. And with all of that frustration, the thing that kept me awake at night, thinking about how angry I was not any of that. It was that someone went into my driveway at the house that I own, and they put their hands on my stuff that I saved up and bought, and then damaged my stuff to steal my stuff. They were sitting where I'm sitting right now as I drive this car, I would think to myself. Like, they were here with their grubby hands and their dirty lack of morality. They were right here.
Oh, so it's like this imaginary fence or this protective layer that was around, your I don't know, your domain had been violated or penetrated by a perpetrator, and you didn't have the ability or the resources to keep them from doing that because you can't be at all places at all times.
I could have walked out the door when the dogs were barking, but I don't know what would have happened because I don't know who stole it from me. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know, we didn't have kids at that point, but it just felt like the world is dark and problematic sometimes, beautiful at others, but like, this is my little spot that I'm making better through my effort and my labor, and just not here. Somewhere else, maybe out on the street, whatever, but like I'm trying to just build one controlled, safe space. And you came in here over $150 stereo and violated it, and that house never felt the same to me. And that's probably because of emotional weakness on my part, but it never felt the same. So, my friend, all of that to say, no, I'm not trying to give you the bait and switch where I lead you down the emotional road and then try to make some political point. I don't need you to think what I think politically. What I am saying is that, generally speaking, I very much agree with you that there is something sovereign about property, that there is something incredibly lazy about saying, well, I have a thing that I want and I don't want to do the work for it, so I'll just use your work. And there are certain taxes and mentalities about taxation that I feel like aren't that different. And just because we signed some papers or 45.2% of people voted for a thing and that turned out to be a majority, that now that gets to happen. Sometimes that troubles me. Other times I feel like, hey, I like what we're doing here as a community, as a group of people, and I'm happy to kick in to provide this service to my neighbors and to myself. So I'm not a taxationist theft guy necessarily, but sometimes I feel like taxation can lead in that direction.
Whatever.
Does that trouble you?
No, it doesn't trouble me. It's just like we're talking about a glitter bomb video that's amazing. And then you get all deep and philosophical. We should just talk to Mark about his video. That's what we should do.
Well, okay, how did you find out about the video? Did Mark tell you that he was going to publish this thing, or did he catch you by surprise?
We're always talking. Mark and I are buddies, and so we're texting each other all the time. And he sent me, back when he was developing the glitter bomb, he sent me some video of what he was doing, and we talk back and forth about things all the time. Like, there's a video I have coming up soon that I bounced some ideas off of Mark, and so, like, I had known he was going to drop this video. I had no idea it was going to be so well received. This is one of the rare moments where a person wins the internet, and Mark totally won the internet with this video.
Where somebody wins the internet and deserves it, and you like what they won it with.
Oh, exactly.
Usually the number one thing in trending for me is a disappointment. But when I saw this, and everybody I know who makes content tweeted this video. Everybody.
Yep.
But then I got a little monitor that I put on my wall here for where I record so I can keep tabs on things. I loaded it up, I connected it to the internet, and the first thing that pops up on this little smart TV monitor is Mark's video. I'm like, wow, Mark, dude, you've arrived, man.
Yeah.
That's queued the thing up. And just to bring everybody up to speed who hasn't seen it, Mark was getting porch pirated. We're using that term, right?
Yep.
And so he came up with what I think is a really devious, really frankly harmless way to push back on the people who were doing this. And so he engineered, I don't know, how would you describe what he built?
Well, it was clever. He created a device with 4 cameras inside. They were phones, and it could GPS locate itself. And you don't want to just sit there and record videos, so if an accelerometer on the inside got tipped, literally, and it's like, oh, movement just happened, and then you couple that with Boolean and logic to say, oh, and the GPS says that I have moved, start recorders. So at that point, it starts recording video, and then when people open the box expecting, I think it was an Apple Home box, when they open the box, glitter would go everywhere, whether it be in their car, in their house, wherever it was. And then, yeah, and what I thought was the most clever addition to the design was fart spray would start spraying every 5 seconds.
I love the sound the little motor makes.
Oh yeah. And the cool thing about that is it makes people want to get rid of the device, and that I think is the real genius part of the design. So this is,
I agree.
the clever thing that he did here. It's not just a technical feat, which it was. He works with people to help him design things. It was a technical feat, but it was also a social engineering feat because he had to think about what was going on so that people would ditch the box, and that's the clever part. And believe it or not, Mark just texted me, dude. You want me to see if he'll jump on with us here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, sweet. He knows how to do mics and stuff. Let's take a quick break and then let's get him on and then set all the mics up and everything, and then let's just talk to him.
Excellent. Hey, Mark, how's it going, man?
What's up?
Well,
Good to
what's
hear
up with you
again.
other than dominating at the internet, dude?
Oh, man, it's been crazy. It's been crazy, but I think we'll talk about that today, right?
I think so, yeah. When I last saw you a month ago and chatted, you were kind of immortal, like a normal person. Now, like, I don't know, do you ride in special vehicles?
That's part of what I want to talk about. Like, this is a weird situation that it's like, yeah.
Bet.
You'd think it would be like, oh my gosh, all your wildest dreams comes true. Like, we put content out for people to view and see it, right? But there's a weird limit to that. But we will get into it. We'll get into it.
Holy cow. Dang, I didn't think about that.
I'm guessing a bazillion people are banging down your door right now because they want to talk to you about how you did it and what the video was like. Are you getting phone calls constantly?
Yeah, dude. Like, my number's unlisted, but I've had like 6 or 7 people call my phone number. Media people. They're like savvy and they know like people who know people or something. So that's been weird. But yeah, as far like my email, both personal and my like Mark Rober business only, it's probably like every 5 minutes there's some news station. There's some, and it's like friggin' Today Show, Good Morning America, NBC Nightly News, like the BBC. Like these aren't just like Joe's radio talk show in Winnetka or something. So yeah, it's been crazy. And let me just say this, gentlemen. I've turned down all of them. The Today Show wanted to come to my house this afternoon and film a thing. I'm like, no. I'm talking to No Dumb Questions. So this
Thank you.
and like, I've done like what my cousin's a newscaster. He's like an anchor in LA. I did something with him, and I think I might do something with Hank Green. That's the limited of my press outreach for this. So there
That's
you go.
awesome.
I do feel honored. Dude, I did a video a while back on this story about a poop in a cave in the Bible, and afterwards my mom called. She was like, "That video is really good." So I kind of get what you're going through is the point.
It's like the same thing, basically. You're like, how'd you
Yeah.
get this number?
And like you, I turned it down and I talked to Gaskin about it.
No,
I'm sorry, I
there-
can't talk to you, Mom.
There's something interesting about, that does say something. So A, thank you. B, it says something that you're in a position where all this traditional media is reaching out and trying to just blow your phone up, and you're able to just casually, obviously not casually, this probably has caused you some emotional stress, but you're able to say, no thank you, I would prefer to go back and just keep making the things I make. So that's an interesting position to be in.
Yeah, and honestly, when it comes down to it, like, if I was some dude who, I made this little doohickey and all of a sudden it hit national, it hit the media, then it's in my best interest to go on all those shows and, like, give my pitch. But it's like, with all due respect, like, I don't need Good Morning America, right? I don't need them to, like, the video, like, that's the beauty of the democratization of the internet. Like, I have YouTube and I can give my own message out, right? Like, what they kind of want is that they don't want to just be the same, write the same story everyone else did off the video. They want their like unique twist off of it, and so that doesn't really benefit me, right? They're still gonna run the piece, but now they just have to say it without my little snippet. So I'm like, you guys get permission to use the video as long as you talk about it, and don't just like do a recut, and then put the text over it. But
Oh, so you're giving people permission?
if they do it on air, right? Like if Al Roker and the guys show it and they talk about it and laugh about it and they use clips, I'm totally cool with that, right? it's the ones that like are like, hey, I work at BuzzFeed, can we, or like I'm at Unilad, can we take this and we'll totally credit you. We just want people to see your awesome work. I'm like, nah, right?
Well, can
So
I?
you can bet the video.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Hey,
No dumb
maybe-
questions on this podcast. No
Thanks,
questions.
Have you thought about copywriting it? Have you done
Yeah,
that?
so you texted me about that, and then I followed the link, and it was a broken link. So I wanted to ask you.
Nice job, Destin.
Yeah.
Now his thing's gonna get stolen.
Sorry,
Yeah.
man.
Thanks, pal.
I thought I texted you this back in the day when you sent me the original video. I was like, you need to copyright this. So let me just get this out of the way. ECOcopyright.gov. Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. I sent you the wrong link. My bad. So here's what I do with Smarter Every Day. If I do a video that takes me like literally 3 years to work on, and I know you know what this is like, so I will go copyright the video before I upload it. You can also copyright it after you upload. Not a big deal. So you need to copyright it in that way because it is going to happen. People are going to steal your stuff. Like for right now, Facebook could upload it as like a Super Bowl commercial or something. And
I
they're
see.
yeah, and so you need to be protected
Okay.
because you spent a lot of money to do this, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Money, shmoney. You spent a great idea to do it. Like that's the value.
By the way, while we're talking right here, I just got a tweet that Chris Pratt and Chris Evans were like talking about the video, being like, "This is so cool." Like someone just saw me a screenshot. I mean, no big deal. It's just Chris Pratt, right?
It's like 1/20th of the Avengers, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this what you wanted to happen though? I mean, like I know you well enough to know that you're feeling things right now.
Sure.
Like I just like the nature of the way we're talking right now, I can tell that this is kind of an uneasy Mark I'm talking to.
Yeah, that's funny. A number of my friends have said that. They're like, "I've never seen you so on edge." And
Why are you on edge? What's weird about it?
Yeah, so it's this idea. I've had videos go viral in the past, right? That's kind of what I do. Every month I swing for the fences and try to have a video that gets lots of views, right? But you always sort of feel at least kind of in control of the situation. This has gotten so big so fast. Like I hit 4 million subscribers like 10 days ago. And I'm like, holy cow, that was amazing. While we're having this podcast, I'm going to tick over to 5 million subscribers. So I've got in 2 days almost like close to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And it took me so long to get to 4 million, right? It took me so long to get to 100,000. And so just, it feels so out of control that it's like scary, right? It seems beyond like, I don't know what's going on. So that's like one element to it. It's like, there's certain amusement park rides where you get on and they have like a spinning wheel with inertia and then they lock you into it and you like zoom off really fast. You kind of get that whiplash effect.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm feeling right now, like whiplash. And I'm not to the part yet where like I'm coasting and I'm like, wait, this is fun. Like I'm getting there, but like yesterday and today just felt like whiplash, right? Like just crazy everything blowing up.
Like what is the whiplash? Okay, so let's go engineer with this, right? So whiplash is a sudden acceleration, and it's the resistance to change in the body that causes that, right? And it's particularly because your head is on a moment arm in your neck, right?
That's right.
That's the whiplash. So I guess dissect that for me. What is the sudden acceleration, and what is the inertia? What is the resistance to change? So in what is changing, and how are you resisting that?
Yeah, it's just like, so like I make monthly YouTube videos, but it's like I also have a family and I actually work for like a company. Like I don't work full time. It's like 70%. So I have like a life beyond the YouTube videos, and each of those have like a carved out amount of time in my life. And since I released this video, it's just been like 100 like 2,000% cranked up in this YouTube thing, where I'm just getting texts from people I haven't talked to in like 7 years, showing me their office with like 20 people huddled around a computer. Like, dude, this is killing it. And I genuinely don't even know who it's from. Right? And so it's like, first of all, so my own personal phone is texting out from friends and family. And that part's kind of cool, but overwhelming. And then it's like just the media onslaught from all angles, right? And then it's like the channel itself is just blowing up, and my Twitter has never been big, but it's blowing up, and my Instagram and my Facebook, right? So it's just like on all these levels, things that I've always been like, oh, you know, you put some effort into making them grow, all of a sudden they just completely spike, and you'd think it'd be like, yes, it happened, but it's this sense of like, too much, too fast, and I don't know what's happening. And I think the uneasiness, maybe this is a better way to say it, is like, if it's happening at a comfortable rate, a comfortable acceleration, the impulse isn't so high, you can stay on top of things, right? But take, for example, like, I knew the video was up and was killing it, and so I felt like I need to get officially, you know, put that on Facebook. I need to get that, and I need to get my rights manager set up on Facebook so people can't rip this off and put it on. Like, there's all these opportunities that could be potentially missed. Big opportunities. Like, this is a very critical time window where you have to do everything right to capitalize on this opportunity. If you miss some of that, you get screwed. This is one of my biggest opportunities, dude. This is what I'm like, I'm not missing that. Dustin finally invited me on his podcast.
Whatever, dude. Thanks. We appreciate the humility, man. Hey, I just want to be clear. Like, you and I were working together back when we were both tiny, man.
I know. I sent you the text.
We're still
by the
tiny.
way. By the way, this is do you have like show notes for this?
Yeah.
I should tweet this or something. I sent Destin a screenshot the other day, Matt, of when he followed me like 5 years ago. I was like so stoked, and you had like, I think you had like 200,000 subscribers because it shows you in the email that you get. So yeah, but you and I have been bros for a long time. By the way, perhaps my most underrated text ever was the one I sent you this Sunday when I was like, dude, I'm releasing the Glitter Bomb video.
Oh yeah.
I think it may have some potential.
I have the text.
I think so.
Oh, I have the text. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Let me go.
Destin does a good job of honoring secrets, but he intoned that you were up to something that would be effective.
I'm gonna scroll back and see what you said. So that would have been
Sunday night. I think, yeah, Sunday night.
happy it's blah blah blah. Okay, my Glitter Bomb vid drops tomorrow. It has some potential. The Fourier video was sick. Great way to visualize. Thanks. And then my response was,
Before your video was sick.
well, here's my underrated text, and you're kind of ignoring this one. I said, thanks. Great video, dude. Remember the little guys when you're huge. And you said,
That's prophetic.
then you said, LOL, whatever, and then the next text is like, oh my gosh, look at my analytics. I said, remember the little guys when you're huge. Oh my
No, my
gosh.
next text was like, wait, who is this? It happened so fast.
Oh man.
The thing about what's going on too. What's the view count at now, Mark?
I
I can get that information.
don't know. I have the most latest. It's like 4 million behind on. It doesn't update correctly, you know.
It's gonna hit
Oh,
100
yeah,
million
real
easy.
time.
Dude, this is
Yes, it is.
Dude, when you said that, I'm like, you're so dumb, Destin. And now I'm like, man, so 36 million, and
It's gonna hit 100.
it's been just over 2 days.
So this is what
Okay.
winning the internet looks like.
I guess, man. I don't know, yeah. I guess, man. This is crazy. You know what's funny is Gray and Brady talked on Hello Internet, I remember once, talking about, you know when people like have like this big thing and they're like, oh, I'm so humbled. When people say that, like, oh, I'm just so humbled to have this honor or something. And I agree, that always sounds really stupid. But like, I honestly feel, and this, like, I think what happens in a situation like this, where suddenly the spotlight is shined on you, is like the imposter syndrome kicks in overdrive, and you feel like I think humbled really is the feeling. Like, I feel unworthy of all of this attention and the nice things people are saying about me. It's like, you don't understand. Like, no, it really does feel like uncomfortably humbling, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the truth of the matter is, I get like how that kind of flattery can cause, I suppose, anybody to feel things, but at the same time, you come off really well in the video. You come off as really gracious and really kind. I think you were nice to the people who were stealing from you, frankly, and the video is legitimately good. So I don't know. Maybe this is me trying to sit in the counseling chair and put your mind at ease. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, dude, if this thing goes for 100 million views, that is more than half of the population at the time of Jesus. It's just let that sink in.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That to communicate to half of planet Earth in relatively recent geologic history is a total impossibility. Somebody came up with ways to do it, and then it's fun to see, people you like and are rooting for figure out how to ride that wave.
Yeah, that is interesting. Thanks. Now I
So-
feel even more pressure and scared. Wait a
Hey,
minute.
it's working. So that gets me to a little different question.
Sure.
You get 100 million people, 1/3 of the population of our country, to watch a video, and I do think 100 million is a reasonable estimate for where that's going to shake out. But whatever, it's a huge number of people. Obviously, one of the goals of the video is to have a laugh. Obviously, another goal of the video is to do something cathartic in response to someone else's bad behavior.
Right.
But what's the take home? What were you hoping that? What's the underlying message? Is there anything that you were hoping people would take from it on a deeper level?
I like the resourcefulness, I guess, of there's an element here of proactivity and doing what you can in your sphere of influence to make a difference. I'm talking about for me personally, right? I had a package stolen, I was frustrated, I felt kind of violated, police wouldn't do anything about it. One option at that point is to be like, dude, this sucks, I hate the police. And by the way, I understand their position, yeah, of course they're not going to just be chasing around petty thefts. The thing that actually got stolen was a $5 package, by the way. I didn't put that in the video because then it just seems vindictive on my part.
Well, why did it bother you though? If it was a $5 package?
Because it's my stuff, right? And this is my house and my domain, and you feel violated about it, right? And I had the footage of it and all that.
It sounds very familiar, man. Tell it.
So then
we just got done saying the same thing, man.
We use the same word, domain,
Yeah, I'm the master of this domain. If there's a spider in this house, I'm the guy who kills it, right? I own this place.
It's 2018. You're not allowed to kill spiders.
So anyways, so there's an element, so the one option is just to be and play the victim, there's nothing I can do, but the other is I could actually do what's within my resources, and I think my resources are a little bit different than most people's, which is why it's sort of they felt I'm the people's champion here, I am the David in this situation, going forth to battle and dominating, right?
You're freaking Robin Hood, dude. That's why it worked for
Robin.
me. It makes sense.
Yeah, right. I'm sticking up for anyone who's ever been in this situation, and sticking it to the man, the people who did this. So I think that element of just proactivity, and everyone in some element in their lives can be the victim, or they can do something to influence, their circle, their sphere around themselves. So that part I think I like, and that's a pretty common theme in all of my videos, I feel like. And then the other thing, I don't know, so I think we're going to talk about this, but it has been interesting how much people really want to punish these guys. I've had I've seen a number of comments that are why'd you blur their faces? They don't deserve that. And from the beginning, there was never an ounce in my body that I wanted to ruin someone's life over some petty theft, right? It's a stupid decision on their part, but there's no way I'm going to let the law be unleashed on these people for something like that. So I felt you know what, glitter is enough of a punishment. Let's call it good, and don't do dumb stuff in the future.
Well, and I know you read all 475,000 comments, so you no doubt saw mine, which was to exactly that effect. I was like, dude, that was really nice of you to blur those faces. That in itself is a very gracious gesture, charitable. But I think you're right. I think there's something very cathartic about vicariously living through you getting some kind of revenge or satisfaction, because it is the most hollow feeling in the world when somebody steals from you and you never see them and you never knew who they were, and there's just not a dang thing you can do about it. And it's I have an enemy out there somewhere. There's someone who hates me enough to take my stuff and to violate my space, and I don't even get to know who they are.
Right.
And so it was still nice to blur it, but it was also nice to be able to just have a little bit of a sense of, who would go and do something like that? And now they smell like farts and are covered in glitter. It's modern day tarring and feathering.
Can I just say, The fart spray was genius because what that demonstrated to me is that you had to do two things. You had to like engineer it mechanically, which is genius the way you did it, but you also had to figure out a way for them to discard it so you could get it, which was, I mean, that was clever. That was the fart spray, and I loved hearing the fart spray cam go.
I know, it totally personified the device. So a little behind the scenes little tidbit for you. So in the very last one, the one where you're playing with the thing, the fart spray didn't actually go off. It malfunctioned, which is why he spends more time with it than the others. I had other things in there to encourage someone, notes and such, to encourage like the package return basically. But yeah, that was exactly why we put it in there. So it's fun to do the fart spray, but yeah, exactly. We wanted them to spend as little as time as possible with the thing before they could realize there's like $600 worth of equipment in that box.
Was this a large team that built it?
No, it was just me, and I found some dude named Sean Hodgkins. He's like from Canada. So him and I have been working together for like 6 months. And generally, if I hired him to do this, and so we'd meet like every other day as we were like developing it. And then once I got it, there was, I don't know what it was, but there's so much that there's still a bunch of failure points in there. So I spent a good month working on it once I received it from him to shore up all the single point failures and stuff. So in the end, it's kind of funny. Like the joke is a little bit on me because my house, my workbench, the grass, my backyard, completely covered in glitter. We're just hosed. But luckily, my wife has the patience of Job, and so she puts up with all of it.
In preparation for this, did you go and watch other justice porn type videos?
Not really. I mean, honestly, I don't watch a ton of YouTube, except if I see something like in Reddit and in general, if I'm doing a topic, like I really try and shy away from other things that have been done on it, just so it doesn't like taint me or put me in a specific rut. So I didn't even. Is this like a thing? Is this? I've seen a few things. Like I saw that dude a long time ago. I remember seeing like the shotgun thing on his porch or something. But is like justice porn? Is that like that's a genre of video?
Is that offensive, Destin? I don't think that's offensive, right? That's even a subreddit.
Yeah, it's a subreddit. Yeah, it's a subreddit.
Yeah, it's just an entire genre of what you're doing in this video, except you just did it so much nicer. So my problem with justice porn style videos is that I love watching the thief or the jerk get what's coming, but then I immediately feel like, that was too much. Now I've become what I hate. And I did not feel now I've become what I hate when I got to the end of the glitter bomb video. So like there's a couple channels that do like bait bikes. And it's so funny, man. They made one that you get on the bait bike and you start riding, and they push a button and it severs the bike in half.
I've seen that.
And so people just eat it. There's another one that electrocutes people when they steal the bait bike. I saw one where there was a bait foam that they covered in itching powder.
Probably the best one. The best one I've seen
out.
is where they took a bike and they actually had a cable tied to a pole, but it was pointed downhill, so people would jump on the bike and start riding downhill, and then it would just fantastically stop. The bike just stops and they keep going. It's incredible.
That's crazy though, because it's like someone could easily like crack their head open, right? I mean, it doesn't sound like the dad in the room, but
Well, you're not the dad in the room, so maybe that's why it didn't sit quite right with me either. But yeah, what I loved was that it's just fart spray and glitter.
Right.
It's just enough for me to feel like you have been notified that your thieving is annoying.
Right.
And also now I don't have to feel like I've crossed to the dark side to feel some kind of satisfaction. All right, but I have entered the modern world. I got my Eero set up in the other day.
I am so glad they are a sponsor, dude. It is the best customer experience and like user interaction of any product I own in my life, period. Would you agree?
Yeah, yes. Oh, well, I've been thinking a lot lately about just this idea of user experience, UX design, they call it. What does it feel like when the end user encounters a thing? And my experience was I got a box in the mail. All I knew was that this would make my Wi-Fi better. I opened the box. There was a neat little note with only a few words right there on the top that said, take this thing and plug it in. And then I did. And then, underneath that, there were a couple other things. And and it said, take these and plug them into some wall outlets somewhere where you want Wi-Fi. It's basically that simple. I plugged it in, and it turned on. It's Wi-Fi in a box.
You can run speed tests when you're not at home. Like, you can be across the country and you can make sure your internet is on. You can see what devices connect to your network, like by name. You can kick them on and off. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff, and it just works. So I'm glad you finally came into the modern world.
I'm really glad I caught up. Hey, would you like to know what my internet is running at right now?
Yes, I would.
Ooh, little slow. 114 down, 11 up.
Dude, 1 second. Let me run a test. Right now, I'm at 363 down, 386 up.
Oh my goodness! You told me it was incredible at your house, but you were worse than me. Just, oh my goodness, I'm jealous.
Dude, but you connect with it via Bluetooth. They even make Bluetooth work. Which is one of the...
And Bluetooth never works. As we can vouch for from every single conversation we've ever had in our vehicles.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Eero. It's a mesh network. So, like, if you need internet on the far side of your lot or whatever it is, all you do is you plug in these multiple nodes and they'll instantly recognize each other. And if one side of the nodes goes down or whatever, the other ones will just grab it and take over.
You know, you've been to my house. I got that big, cool stone fireplace, and it's an internet killer. Everything behind that fireplace wall, we don't get service. It's really a pain in the butt. And so I can't route my Wi-Fi through that wall, but I can route around it with Eero because it's a mesh network. So I basically just selectively plugged in my beacons, and now it covers everything. It's like it did a pincer attack on that stupid fireplace wall.
That's awesome. Okay, here's the offer. If you want to never think about Wi-Fi again, you get $100 off the Eero base unit and 2 beacons, which is what you can use to like strategically place your Wi-Fi, and a year of Eero Plus, which I'll explain in a second. Go to eero.com/ndq. That's EERO. And at checkout, enter NDQ. So eero.com/NDQ, and at checkout, enter NDQ.
Eero Plus is not an afterthought. It is instead like the fulfillment and completion of this whole takeover, grab Wi-Fi by the reins and take control of it plan. So how does it work?
Okay, so you can do multiple things with Eero Plus, all from your phone. Okay, so number one, it'll constantly scan your network to see the health of your network, and you can look at the history of those scans on your phone. If there are blocked things, like you're trying to go to a bad place or whatever on the internet that is offensively trying to attack you, it will block that and it will track it so you can see what they are. You can also block advertising and tracking when people are just trying to track your internet movement. It will automatically speed up the web and protect your privacy by blocking most ads on there. And the most important, I think, for all of us is it'll monitor harmful content. So you can block inappropriate content on your kids' devices just by using the app.
And you can schedule internet downtime to force your family to interact and like each other.
And you can do that per device. I have Eero Plus right here on my phone. Like, you can see exactly what's connected to the network, and you can set content filters based on each individual item on the network. That's awesome.
Basically, if you've ever had to do the thing where you go in and you type in 11.9.21 whatever and hack and wade through impossible, confusing Wi-Fi menus, like if you want to just forget that completely and take total control of what happens with your interneting throughout your house, this is the way to do it.
Yep. What's the offer one more time?
Okay, so it's $100 off the Eero base unit and 2 beacons and 1 year of Eero Plus. And that's at eero.com/NDQ, and then you put NDQ in there at checkout as well. So the key thing there is if you just want the hardware, you can go and get that from eero.com without the promo code or anything. But what's awesome about this deal is you still get the great deal on the base unit and the beacons, and you get Eero Plus, which it's what does all the things Destin just said.
Super glad they're sponsoring eero.com/NDQ. That's EERO.com/NDQ, and enter NDQ at checkout.
Poor Mark, he's just sitting there. He probably must feel so rejected because nobody's been paying attention to him lately. Let's get back to him.
Can I ask a couple of questions about how
Sure.
you built the device? So, glitter, very small plastic shards. The motor has moving
Important that
parts.
they're plastic, by the way. I didn't actually know that it was necessarily plastic because it gets all over like the circuit board. Like we made like a was metal, I would have been hosed, right? Because it would like make all these connections and make everything go haywire. And that was one of the things we tested at first when things weren't working quite right. Is like you can stick the probes of your multimeter into like just a tub of glitter, and you show that there's like a very high resistance. So it's like, oh no, this isn't the thing that's causing it. We could have as much glitter as we want on the board, and it won't cause an issue. Anyways.
Did you think about potting the electronics?
We just didn't need to. Like it wasn't an issue. Like that didn't end up being one of the failure points.
So what about the on the design of the motor itself? In this wheel that you have up top that spins, I noticed that is it a parabolic dish or is it a cone?
You mean like what's the profile of the cam?
No, the bowl that the glitter spins in.
Yeah, that it spins from. It's not necessarily like following an actual equation of being exactly parabolic. I mean, it does follow that. Like if you took a cross section, it would look like an S curve, you know?
Right.
But it's not like we engineered some specific equation to maximize like the tangential velocity.
You put little paddles in there to throw it, though, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because friction would do some of that for you, but you can sort of jumpstart friction by putting little paddles, like you said, and then it has to flow up because of the centrifugal acceleration. Centrifugal force on it. It has to flow up along those channels and outside.
Okay.
So you get this effect where I think basically that. So then you start the flow of things going out versus if it was completely frictionless, technically it would spin and the glitter would just stay in place, right?
Right. So two questions I had about it. Number one, the motor down inside, the motor that's turning that bowl, did you have any issues with glitter getting past the shaft seal on that motor? Did you ever have problems where the motor quit working quite as well?
No, because it was pretty protected. Like, we can put a picture in the show notes, but basically I attached to that bowl with 4 screws from above. The cup goes out, so it kind of like, there's no way to get to that shaft, right? Because at the end of the shaft you have some fasteners, and that's where the cup attaches to.
Okay, and so when you put the glitter in the bowl at the top, and you put the lid or the box on, so how did you keep, they're just going to grab it and throw it in their car seat, right? So how do you keep the glitter in the bowl? Like, let's say I get it and I lay it sideways. Yeah. So how do you keep the glitter from running down to the side of the box?
Yeah, and that happened in one of them, actually. There's one where they didn't come off, and from what we can tell, what happened is as they walked away, they turned the package totally on its side, and potentially upside down, and then glitter did get around the side, and therefore when they tried to open the box lid, it got jammed. I had a piece of memory foam at the top of the box, so theoretically, when you squish the lid on, it would create kind of a seal, but it didn't work that well, and I didn't have time to go back and update that. That's definitely something we're going to be fixing in version 2.0. But you can imagine the way to solve it is just by having something on the lid, right? And then when the lid comes down, it creates a seal with the cup.
So last technical question, and then I have one other question, and I'll hand it over to Matt, because I think Matt has some really good things we were talking about earlier. So number one, the battery. What kind of, did you have an external battery on the inside powering all the phones, or just the electronics in the motor and everything?
Yeah, so the phones work off their own battery. That was one of the choices. That's one of the. There's a number of reasons to use a phone in these devices, because you have the GPS, you have the LTE stuff, you can upload the stuff to the cloud. You have really nice video cameras, right? For the price of a phone, it's a remarkable deal. And they have really nice batteries. So the phones go in a standby mode, and they go for a day and a half, all on their own power. When you plug it in at night, which I mentioned in the thing, if it didn't get stolen, we bring it back in, plug it in at night, it charges up all the phones themselves. You're charging up all the individual phone batteries. And then we just had a 1-cell LiPo that was actually powering the printed circuit board, like the Arduino, to that. And that is the thing that has the accelerometer on it. And it says, hey, I've been moved, check the GPS. Okay, yeah, this is happening. And then it sends a signal to all the phones to start recording.
The Boolean and was genius, man. To end together the accelerometer and the GPS outside of a geofence, I mean, that was, when I saw that, I took my engineer hat off and I checked it to you. I was like, this is great, Mark. I was just, you know how you see a really well done design, and you're proud of the design no matter who did it?
Yeah, sure.
I had that engineering feeling when I saw it. I was like, man, that's good.
That's great.
Last question.
Is the box intact?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
survival
But no, I
mode,
mean,
or is it
no,
shot?
I mean it's like it's not in great condition, but it like still exists as a thing that I own. Yeah, it's. I mean, if we were to do any more, yeah, for next year. By the way, this is like I'm like Jimmy Kimmel every year. He does like, hey, my kids stole my Halloween candy. I've already decided like we're gonna start this time way earlier, like in freaking July, to start getting footage, and then every December it's like, hey, here's more glitter bomb responses.
Mark, please tell me you're going to build these for people, right? Like people can purchase these.
Absolutely not. Like
What?
I've done the thing where it's like, you know, I originally left NASA because I had like this cool Halloween shirt idea, and it actually went really well for us. Like it was a success, quote unquote, right? And I ended
What
up
was the
selling-
Halloween shirt? Why did you quit NASA for a Halloween shirt?
That's a story for another podcast, Matt. No, I mean like
A worse podcast?
You've seen it, man. You basically put the tablet in your shirt, and it looks like you can see through your shirt. And you've
Yeah,
seen,
like,
you've seen.
you
this.
had like a dude, you know, a
You just-
zombie face with eyeballs that moved around, and it was a free app that moved the eyeball around. It was called Digital Duds. But the act of like making something and then shipping it to somebody and having to deal with like the people responding and the customer service stuff and the margins get really small. Like that's the beauty about making YouTube videos and like having sponsors and stuff. It's totally scalable, right? So you can it's like you buy a lottery ticket every month and it's always the same amount of work, but sometimes it blows up and then it's like a huge return on your investment, right? If you're actually making something, the chance that the return on investment is going to be like really, really high is that the chances for that are low.
Well,
And
why
so
wouldn't you
just-
just go ahead and patent it and then sell the rights to make it to other people? Why wouldn't you just patent this?
Yeah, because the patent thing too, I've done a bunch with that, and there's always a way around it. Like, I mean, like I have a limited amount of time in my day for things,
Okay.
and this is the type of thing that I'm just like, yeah, it's not.
Sounds to me like you hate money.
No, man. Do you know what his? No, I'm doing this, Mark. Do you know what his YouTube channel's name is?
Don't you dare.
Golly, tell me.
$1 million. How many E's, Mark? 4?
3 E's.
3 E's.
And 1 L. Million is spelled incorrectly.
Oh man.
It's not
sorry.
right.
So $1 million, man. So Mark knew. Mark knew back.
I did.
All
Well,
right.
it's not hard for me to. Okay, so you say you buy a lottery ticket every month. I get what you're saying there, and it's a kind of lottery ticket. You know, a lottery ticket provides value to no one. The lottery tickets you're buying provides value to whoever watches it, and the more value it provides, the more likely you are to have a hit on that lottery ticket. And we've kind of talked about how this provides value to the audience. It's not hard to see at all. But I guess my question is, did it provide value to you? Do you feel better?
By making this video specifically or each month?
No, do you feel better about people stealing from your porch? Did it help? Was it
Oh,
cathartic?
Yeah, it absolutely did. Yeah, you feel like you have the last laugh, right? Yeah, so from that standpoint, I mean, that was my, like, origin story. That's, like, as soon as you get, like, onto the track, you kind of forget what you're asking right now, and it becomes about the video and telling the story, you know? But, yeah, as things quiet down and you look back, and because I'm also not doing it to the exact same person who did it to me originally, you know? But, yeah, I definitely feel like I have the upper hand at this point. So, yes, that is a good feeling.
What a weird thing, too, that Porch Pirate would even be a problem. I mean, that's one of those 21st century issues, I guess. Just with, I don't know, stuff changing with online sales and buying things that way and doing
Sure.
business.
Well, I think
it's not just YouTube that's changing the game. No, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, I think society's changed in general, right? Like, how much of your Christmas shopping did you do online this year, Matt?
Yeah, Christmas shopping. About that. I got another day to get that done. So,
But how
some
are you
of
going to do it?
Yeah, overwhelmingly I do that on the interwebs.
Yeah. I think everybody does that. You doing the same, Mark?
Yeah, we should go into my online, buying habits. I'm sort of a Six Sigma outlier in a way that I'm not proud of.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Wait, which direction?
I mean,
Like, well, Dustin, you know this, and you give me a hard time about it. Like, people come to my house to fill my car with gas, very few times I set foot in a store anymore. Yeah.
Why is that? Are you just anti-store?
No, I'm just pro. I don't have to leave my house, or like, I'm just like my time from a time standpoint, right? Like even if I'm making dinner and I'm like, oh, we're out of whatever butter, and I know I'm gonna need this. It's like I Amazon Prime now, and it's here in like 45 minutes, right? I don't have to like make a quick trip to the store.
That's
Or
a
it's like,
thing.
Whoa. You do what?
so there are benefits. Let's just say I live in a location where well, I've said this publicly. So I live in Silicon Valley, and so there's all these startups that do these things, and also things like Amazon Prime Now, and the things that like deliver things. This is where it all works really well. So there's very few reasons. You know, DoorDash has basically every restaurant you would want to come and deliver to your house.
Wait. They go get the actual food from wherever you want to eat and bring it to you?
Come on, you guys.
What's the radius on that? Will they bring In-N-Out to Lander, Wyoming?
Mark, you're talking to a guy in Alabama and Wyoming here.
Yeah.
And most of all, Wyoming.
Yeah.
And you clearly don't understand. You clearly don't understand how things are for me.
That's amazing.
That's unreal.
Yeah, like I can't think of many things like dry cleaning, like anything that you would go out and do now, like can be done at your house, and there's an app for it, and I probably have it. But to me, it's like an opportunity cost thing, with it's like, you know, with my time, because I really try and like focus my energies on either my family, the job I work for, or YouTube. Like I pretty much say no to almost everything else, and so if it falls outside of that and I can do it quicker, then that's a good return on investment for me.
So, like for local like rec leagues and sports and stuff, do you pay a surrogate to go play in like an adult noon ball league on your behalf?
I do, yeah. He like assumes my identity, and then like he'll upload directly to my Instagram, and they'll post it for me.
That's a good answer.
It's all efficiency.
I guess there's a deeper question there, Matt. Are you basically asking if it affects your standing or interactions in the community? Is that the heart of the question?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm driving at. And it's a question of degree. And if I had more access to more of those services here, I would use them. Because I'm like you. I'm in that place in life where I have a family, and I have things I really care about investing my time in. And so I'm constantly thinking in these time for money equations like you are. So I have no judgment for you ordering butter from Amazon Prime Now. I'm just jealous.
I have jealousy for that. That's amazing.
So it's not really a question of should you do that or not. It's a question of, hey, how does that affect us if we don't go to market anymore? It feels like that would have a profound effect.
So I think the difference, though, is I totally hear what you're saying, by the way, and maybe this isn't the correct answer per se, but I still have lots of social engagement. But the thing is I get to choose those things, right? So like my coworkers at work and where we go to lunch, you know, and I actually do play in like a soccer league, and I have that, and I have, you know, the social things I do have are more chosen by me with the people I want to spend time with, versus like going to the grocery store, right? Like the small talk at the register. Like I'm like, man, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe there's something to be said for the small talk at the register. But I would say I have fewer interactions like that, and more just with, you know, my own people who are just like me, so we can bounce ideas around in the echo chamber. And maybe that is the reason why the world is in a bad spot. Right? I mean, maybe this does speak to that issue, right? The reason, like, you get all these online things is people can curate their circle of friends so well. They can meet people who are just like them, and then they have such a hard time believing that, you know, there's people out there who don't think like them that you would ordinarily have met at the grocery store. So, I came around. I think you're maybe right.
Well, I think it could have both effects. I mean, on the one hand, everyone could theoretically be a more effective collaborator if you're self-selecting partners who are thinking about the same stuff and have the same values. But at the same time, it does create a little bit of a bubble when all your interactions are pre-selected for you.
Yeah, and you definitely see that online, right? I mean, that's what happens when everything is algorithm driven, and they can feed you just the stuff they know is going to tickle your brain in just the right way. Then you kind of forget that there's other viewpoints out there.
When you were in school, did you have to read Death of the Salesman?
I did not.
What is it? Is that like a short story?
It's a play, I think. Arthur, one of them taught you Dancing in a Hurry. That's Murray. Arthur Miller, I think, is the author of that play. And it looks like it's about this guy who's a lifelong, I think maybe door-to-door salesman. And it looks like a story about him, like, kind of losing his edge and the sadness of looking back on a life that was all about sales. But the beauty of the play is when you look closer at it, you figure out it's like a statement on a shift in society that was happening in the middle of the last century. And that shift being, we don't want to be sold to anymore. You are no longer a welcome guest in my home. You are now an invasive set of ideas. You're predatorial. I don't like you. I suspect you. And so early in the play, the main character feels a sense of pride and honor in his vocation. And gradually, the main character has to adjust to being viewed in a very different way. A summary of what I think is really happening, and that is, if we electronically venture out into the land of ones and zeros, we expect we're going to be marketed to a little bit. But if someone physically comes into our space to try to sell us on a product or an idea, unless we really, really like that product or idea in advance, that is very offensive in this day and age. And I think, because, well, I don't know, if you want a vacuum cleaner, like, you just go, I assume you just have someone from Amazon personally drive it over to you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, even more so to the point that you're saying, it's like, if someone, like, even calls me without, like, texting me first, I'm like, how dare you? Like, somebody better have died. Or, like, if the doorbell rings, certainly I hear if the doorbell, like, we never answer our doorbell anymore, right? Because it's probably packaged for starters, but it's like, if it's one of my friends coming over, they will have texted me and say, hey, I'm coming over.
Yeah.
Dude, a person in the neighborhood lost their dog yesterday, and we made signs.
Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remain quiet. I'm interested to hear how you tell the story.
Well, I'll just go ahead and like. So the thing is, we know people weren't gonna look at the signs. You know, it's just a sign on the road. Who cares, right? So we're like, we need to make this sign. We need to make this sign interesting, and we need to make it obvious. And so we, like, giant letters on the sign, we wrote,
In a completely contextually appropriate, therefore it is an offensive way, you wrote what?
"We found your bitch." So that's not offensive.
That's,
It is a female dog.
Was it a female dog? Okay.
It was a female dog, and we found your bitch. We want to get your bitch back to you. And so we
That's amazing.
we made this sign, and we're putting it up in the neighborhood, and the mayor drives by.
Oh,
How does that happen? It wasn't me. It was Trent that was doing it. But like the mayor drives by, and he like starts to do the slow creep thing, and Trent
Oh
said he was
my
like he was like taping it to the stop sign. He's like, I know I'm in trouble. And he said it wasn't like 30 seconds later the cops pulled up. It's like, oh hey, you can't put signs on the stop signs. He's like, oh okay, my bad man. I'll just put it over here on this telephone pole. It's like, oh no, you can't put it there either. It's like, why not? I mean, we're just trying to help a dog, man. We want to get this dog back. He's like, it has the word bitch on the. You can't do that. And so the point
It's
is
like the literal word policing.
yeah,
yeah.
it's a that is word for releasing. But the reason we were doing that is because we're like, people don't care about this stuff. We really have to figure out how to get people to like notice this. So I started. We're like, well, can't put signs up. So we started going door to door and knocking on doors. People wouldn't answer their door.
Really?
The one lady that did answer her door, she opened the door and stood behind the storm window and had a complete conversation with me from behind glass. And she was like, oh yeah, no, I don't think, yeah, those people up there have a dog, but that doesn't look like it. And it was, I mean, it felt weird. It's like, no, you're not allowed to talk to my face. You have to talk to me through this glass, even though you're obviously the guy that lives, you know, literally 2 doors down.
That's interesting. I would have thought, like, where you guys live, that wouldn't be the case as much, right?
Yeah, I would have thought the same thing, but it made me feel a sense of sadness because things have changed. Because it wasn't, you know, not even 5 years ago, I could just send my kids across the street to whatever, but things have changed. And it's not, I don't think Southern hospitality of Alabama is strong enough to fight it off. Whatever it is, it's changing for everyone, I think.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't think that's a good change. I think that's a loss of social capital. And I'm not blaming you personally for that, Mark Rober. At this time, I'm not blaming you
Yes.
personally. for
Yes.
that. But no, one of the things that I think is really challenging is, here we all are trying to be internet people, varying degrees of success in that, and we see the value of it. We were just talking about, you reaching a huge percentage of planet Earth with something that was good, but at the same time, I do think there's an other side to the sword. We always worry about, well, it creates division and violence and trolling. It's much more subtly, it just makes it so we don't have to interact with people we don't want to. And I think we probably need to interact with people we don't want to.
Yeah.
can I do a thought experiment real quick? But here's the thought experiment. So where you're sitting right now, I'm assuming we're all at home. Is everybody at home?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so let's assign some words to this. So let's do a radius of 1 from your position now, and that 1 being a house unit. So if we go radius 1,
I don't like where this is headed.
well, I mean, I think this is interesting because I was feeling guilty as we were kind of. Can you name, like, on a first name basis, at least one person in each house at a radius of 1 from the house you're in right now?
Yes, I can name by first name all the people who live in all the houses at a radius of 1.
Yeah, so I'll go next. Or you go next, Destin.
I'm missing 1, so there's a new person that's catty corner to where I'm at. I've got everybody, but this one new individual over here, I do not have their name, and I feel shame for that.
For me, I'm just doing the side of the street that I live on. There'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess, right? I can do one of those 5.
Wow.
But that doesn't even necessarily relate to personality. That first level of the thought experiment could just relate to where we live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I
I'm in
would
a
say
town
that's a
of 7,000 people
Yeah.
in the middle of a giant western wasteland. If I don't know them, there's nobody to help me when the apocalypse happens. Whereas, you've got that guy from Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're a different. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle because, like, if I go to radius 2, honestly, I've got 1. I got 1 name if I go radius 2, and that's where I was trying to return this dog. I went out to radius 2 and even 3, and nobody knew the bitch, man. They're like, I don't know. They're like,
You're gonna get your mileage out of it. You've got carte blanche on
Yeah,
that
that's
because it's
right.
not a
I
sweat.
don't say bad words, and so this feels good.
No, you don't. I try to think of an appropriate context for all the rest of us.
Yeah. So,
Get it in there.
but I'm assuming at radius 2 you don't have anybody, Mark. Is that right?
That's pretty much true. The kid next door, after that, really likes my YouTube videos, so he'll come by, but yeah, I don't know his parents.
Okay, Matt. So stretch that out. What radius away can you go?
For me to get to I don't know anyone, I would have to go to about radius 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And as soon as I get to radius 9, then I start to overlap with Tina's radius. Because we're within about 20 houses of each other.
Really?
Yeah, I know a lot of people in Lander though, but you think about it too, like vocationally, of the 3 of us, I am most likely to be out in the community and know people in my community just because that's what I do. So I'm cheating.
I guess that was the question. Like, do you think that it's a function of who you are, like personality wise, or your vocation, or where you are geographically?
I think it's all 3 of those things. And I feel not 1 ounce of superiority over that. I just happen to know a lot of people in my neighborhood.
Good on you, Mark. Good on you, Mark, for knowing somebody next to you and where you live.
And it's actually like a beautiful relationship too, because they're like an older couple that don't have any children,
Yeah.
and they've sort of like adopted, as far as like my family goes and like kids and all that stuff. Like it's like they're people I definitely would not normally would be such good friends with. Just totally different on a lot of levels, but it's like it's such a beautiful relationship that we have with them.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think definitely it's a function of not only the small town thing, but in Silicon Valley you have a lot of diversity, which is great for a ton of reasons. A lot of people though are like first generation, and so I do know of the people around me. Some of them like don't they don't even communicate English, so it's like it makes it harder to even like bridge the gap to start the relationship. Not saying that's an excuse, but you feel that a lot here. Um, you feel a little bit less part of like immediately a community because just like culturally it takes there's more inertia to overcome to forge those relationships, and when you do it it's amazing and it works well, but it just doesn't happen as quickly and naturally.
So I was trying to figure out why the porch piracy thing isn't as big of a deal here. I can't say I know of anybody that it's happened to, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen because obviously thieves are everywhere. But
How about
I
you,
was-
Matt? I just want to get some context.
There was a theft in Lander this year. Somebody stole a guy's trailer that had a couple of snowmobiles on it, and I heard it was in terms of value, one of the biggest thefts that had occurred in like Wyoming, aside from white collar crime, in ages.
Wow.
It just doesn't. The thing is, there's nowhere you could go. So if you stole anything that is obvious,
Right.
that is in any way uniquely marked, you couldn't drive it anywhere.
Right.
You couldn't roll it anywhere. You couldn't keep it on your property. Just everybody knows everybody, even in a community this size. So you just can't get away. Can't get away with it. And also, there's only 4 roads out of town. If somebody tried to steal something big and make a run for it, you just put somebody from highway patrol on the 4 roads. You're gonna get caught. It's just a different world.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, wow. Okay, so that means that community changes the nature of theft.
It does.
That's what that.
Yeah, it does. And people will sell other people out because nobody wants a thief in Lander.
That actually gets me back to
So-
something you said earlier that I want to return to, Matt, when you were like talking about someone came to my porch, and your words, I don't think you meant totally literally, but like they hate me enough to take this package. And from what I saw, and like I have a renewed appreciation for like I don't think they are really thinking about you at all, and I think in their mind they've rationalized it in some way that they're not, this isn't anything, and nothing was directed toward me when someone was stealing a package. They've rationalized this and they have this like warped way of thinking, but I definitely don't, if I was feeling violated or like, oh, they came after me, like in reality, they're just not thinking about that. And so
So what makes you think that? What's your data?
So
What did you observe?
I think it's like the anonymity aspect, and I think this is what made me relate to that. Is like it's because you can be so anonymous. It's the same reason if someone cuts you off in line. I think this is really what it comes down to. Someone cuts in front of me and I'm waiting in line at the movie theater. It's like, oh, excuse me. Oh, it's cool. Yeah, I didn't see you there. Someone cuts in front of me on the road, right? People immediately, it's like middle finger honking your horn, and it's the same thing online, right? That anonymity aspect, I think, sort of changes the game a little bit, and I think you have that anonymity aspect living in a big city, like I do, that you don't have in Wyoming, that makes it so people aren't thinking of other human beings in the same way you don't think about the car in front of you as a human being. You think of that as this metal thing that cut you off. I think it allows you to just have that mind point of like, whatever, I don't know, there's a package on a porch, not like this dude ordered this for his daughter for Christmas and he's so stoked about getting it for her.
Yeah, that's insightful. It's degrees of abstraction.
Mm-hmm.
Like your example from the movie theater line. Oh, that's a human. I can feel their body heat as they grazed past me. I can hear them speaking in the same language to their party that I'm speaking to my party.
Right.
There's the only degree of abstraction there is I think, therefore I am. I'm pretty sure that person's a human too. It's the closest level. But you're right. You put somebody in a metal box. We're the operators of 2 mechs now, and the mechs are in conflict with each other, not the people. And then you take that even further out to like rival fan base.
Yeah.
Or international conflict.
Yeah.
Or international conflict. And this is exactly where I'm going, dude. You get that level of abstraction out far enough, and sorry this is about to get serious, but all of a sudden we will each other.
Right.
Because you're just not a person anymore. You're just some distant notion. And that's when it starts to get freaky. And so what's weird about what we're talking about here is that all of these luxuries that I love, they have the negative effect of somehow reducing people just a house or two away to something more abstract than a level 1 human.
Sure.
Did that make sense?
I think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal, Mark. What you're saying makes a lot of dang sense.
I think so too.
Yeah, and I mean, by
I think it's a big deal, Mark. What you're saying makes a lot of dang sense.
I think so too.
yeah, and I mean, my wife and I have talked about this. Like, would we be happier in like a small town community? There certainly are some like downsides to it, right? Where it's like, you know, you have like, you could become a social pariah, and like, you know, everyone knows everyone. There's like a lot of gossiping, and you know,
Hey,
there's a lot of.
forgive me, Mark. What does it mean by social pariah? That's a word I'm not completely familiar with.
I think it's like, you know, in the book The Scarlet Letter or something, like Esther Prynne commits adultery and she gets a red lettered A on her chest, and everyone knows she's the adulteress, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if my next door neighbor went to jail for 6 months for stealing a car, like, I literally wouldn't know, you know?
Got it.
And so it's like, yeah, if you mess up, or there's a lot less gossip, and like, I hate gossip, so it's like that part of it is kind of nice, where everyone's not in everyone else's business. But yeah, I think the pendulum can swing too far, and then you just feel, it can feel isolating.
It's so weird that you are the least isolated out of everyone, but that tends to make people feel more isolated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm speaking generally. I don't necessarily personally feel isolated, but just like me and my family, you know, we've eventually, like, we've been here now for a number of years, and now we've like really started to set some roots in and really get some good friendships and stuff. But I think it takes longer to do that when you're it takes a lot more proactivity in these days, especially in like a suburban/city setting, versus what I would imagine 100 years ago, or even in a small town today, where it just kind of happens naturally right away.
Yeah.
So I just did something to try to actively combat this. So, for example, last night my roommate from college, Steve-O, he gave me a call, and we just talked for, you know, it was 27 minutes and 5 seconds, because I wanted to know, and I looked after the call, and I was like, man, I haven't talked to Steve-O in a really long time. I feel bad about that. I feel really good about having that call with him. How long did we talk? And that's how much it meant to me. And I realized that, you know, I'm slipping on that kind of stuff. And so I've done something that recently, let me get your take on this. I have purchased season tickets to the minor league ball team that's going in place here in Huntsville. They're called...
Can I say the name? Can I say the name? Can I say the name?
Yes, you can say the name.
It would be my great honor to say the name.
Do it.
Mark Rober, the name of the minor league ball club there is the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you not immediately a fan?
That's amazing. Was that like an internet vote or something?
It's exactly what it was. It was exactly what it was.
Do you know what Nate said about that, Destin?
What's that?
He said, when he overheard us talking yesterday, he said, is it possible for the name of a team to get promoted from the minor leagues to the big leagues, not like a player, but just the name?
Yes.
It's that good.
It's that good. And so, so I purchased season tickets. Actually, Smarter Every Day purchased season tickets. And this is my thought. So this sense of community that we're losing because we're all kind of going inward, right? Or at least I am. Like, I bought tickets for the family, and we're looking at each other, my wife and I. This is a big investment, right? And so we're like, the goal of these tickets is to promote community. So we will take our children and a friend to the game, or we will take, you know, you Tara, we'll take a couple of your friends, and you will go to the game. Like, the whole point here is for us to be more extroverted, and to intentionally make relationships with this money that we're investing into this opportunity. And the idea is, because we spent money on it, we're going to feel obligated to do it. Is this
that's
dumb?
good.
This
No,
is
I
dumb.
think that's great. And can I just interject here, Dustin, and say, of all the people that I know, I feel like you are like really good at this. Of like, even though you're super busy and you have all your stuff, I've always felt that like you're really good about forging like personal connections. I mean, one I kept like almost giving you a hard time about about this. Like when we were at ThinkerCon, and you're like organizing this whole thing, and it's like the day before the big event, and you're like taking me around, showing me. It's like 11:30 at night. I'm like, dude, you need to go to sleep. And you're like, oh, let me just show you my lab real quick. And I'm thinking like, what is this guy thinking? Like, he should not be spending time with me. But it's like, I could just sense that you wanted to share your community with me. You wanted to like hang out just to be like a cool guy, like for nothing in return. And like, yeah, that was like impactful to me.
Well, it was,
in general. Go ahead.
I mean, think about all the engineering stuff we've done together through the years. At least, like, we bounced ideas off each other. Like,
Sure.
this is the only time in my mind that Mark Rober has a reason to come to Huntsville, Alabama. I need to show you my lab. And like, was it not cool walking in the lab and just like
It
me and
was
you, like,
amazing, dude, but you had so many other things you should have been worried about, and like I would have just been so stressed out, like just nobody talk to me, I need to make sure all of these things are crossed off, and like you were still like taking care of stuff while we were doing it, but like that was just a great example to me of just like the personal touch and forging relationships. That is something you did not have to do, and I was impressed that you could even do it.
well, first of all, thank you for the compliment. Secondly, I wasn't doing it to try to give you a personal touch. Like, I really just wanted to freaking show you the lab, and I really
I know,
wanted you
and
to
that's
see it.
my point. And that's like my point, that your brain would even be in that mind space shows that this is something that is like part of your core values and stuff, you know? Anyway.
Yeah. So, I don't know where you want to turn the conversation from here, Matt, but to me, you're at this cliff, right? Like, I wanted to do things to help you for like since day one, since I saw your roadkill video.
That's right.
Yeah, and since I saw that, I was like, I like this guy. He doesn't know me. I want to be his friend. And I reached out and we started interacting with each other. Like, from that moment, I'm like, I want this guy to succeed. I want him to be big. I want him to be bigger than me, which you're going to do, by the way. You're going to be...
Whatever. I still don't believe that.
That's like Matt.
The numbers say otherwise. It's going pretty well right now, man.
Yeah, and this is a...
And if you honestly you keep working on it, I wouldn't be surprised if you even outstrip the 10-minute Bible hour. I'd like a phone call when that happens.
Got it. It's just like a courtesy phone call. No, but I think like it's really nice to see someone get success and they're doing good things and they're thinking about what they're going to do with that platform once they have it. I know you're doing that, and it feels really good to see a friend be successful, and I'm really excited and proud of you and all those good things, all those gushy things. But I also know that you're standing at the edge of this big cliff. It's like in Zelda. I don't know if you play Zelda on Switch, but like there's a couple of places in the game where you're standing over this big ledge and you're seeing over the entire world, and like all this stuff is about to happen. And I feel like you're right there, and I'm excited for you, and I'm like, I don't know. It's fun to watch.
I appreciate that, man. And I felt that from the day one. Like, I mean, when you subscribed to me, I was like, I mean, you were like massive, and like YouTube it's funny now because I think you had like, 250,000 subscribers, which is still a lot of subscribers, right? I don't like demean that, but by today's standards, that's a pretty small number, right? But I remember I was like, dude, my life is pretty much complete now. I'm done.
Yeah, but I mean, internet fame is
go
not
ahead.
much. Like, internet fame is not. It's like the. I had this program at work one time, or I was trying really, really hard to get this certain. It's not a contract, but a test program. I was trying to get it, so I got on the airplane, went to the Pentagon, gave presentations, and then at the end of the day, they were like, "Yeah, Destin, you and your team, you're the guys. You're the ones that are going to do it." And I went home, and it was like, "Holy cow, I got it!" And my boss looks at me, and I'll never forget him saying this. He looks at me, he goes, "Hey, Destin, you're about to learn a lesson." And I was like, "Yes, sir." He said, "You know how the dog is running down the street after the garbage truck all the time?" I was like, "Yes, sir." He said, "What happens if the dog catches the truck?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What happens if the dog catches the truck? What does it do?" And it's just like, I don't know. It's like he'll bite the tire, and it's just like, what happens? And so what he was telling me in that moment is like, we, people that make things for the world, and people all over the place that maybe even listen to this, the fourth chair here, that think about, man, if I could just make that one thing, or like every kid in the world who looks up to you because you're a YouTuber,
Yeah.
what happens if you become a YouTuber? Or what happens if you get that thing, the carrot that's always moving closer to the horizon?
Yep. Yeah.
And so you're there. Do you feel like you're there? Do you feel like the dog caught the truck right now?
No, I mean, what you're saying rings so true to me, which is, by the way, why, for me personally, I still have a job at a company, and I'm trying to people are like, dude, you should do 2 videos a month. And I'm like, for what? Like, what's the goal there? For more money? It's like, I feel like I have enough money, right? It's like, basically what you do is you get a little bit of a high, because it's like, oh, you're getting more whatever things, but now you've just cranked up the treadmill, and now you have to be running at that new pace. Like, for what gain? And you can't keep that up, which is why you see so many YouTubers who get this, like, burnout and all this stuff. So it's like, for me personally, I just have to look at it as like, dude, I do a video a month, I do the best I can, and I do these other things in my life, and I'm happy with this pace, and I'm feeling content, and that's it. Honestly, I feel like I've done a decent job in my own brain, in my own life, of fighting for that balance and maintaining that, and that helps a ton. Because like you said, that carrot is just always, think about when you're in school, you're like, oh, if I could just, as soon as I'm graduated, I won't have to do homework. That'll be the best, right? And then you graduate. It's like, okay, I'm graduated. As soon as I get married, as soon as we get a house. Like, there's always that one other thing. And if you forget to be happy in the moment, like, pretty much, life ends up passing you by, and you're like, oh, wait, like, it never came. I love that dog caught the truck, by the way. I'm totally stealing that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes, it is. So what's the point of it all, man? I mean, I guess any of it. If the dog catches the truck and it's a truck and it's a dog and there's effectively nothing the dog can do to or with the truck, why keep chasing the truck? What's the end game?
I think what I've kind of wrapped my head around, it's like they've done studies where if you get a raise, if your goal is to like maximize the dopamine to your brain, like you'll get a lot more dopamine to your brain basically if you get like incremental raises over 10 years versus if you get one massive raise for the same amount and then you're plateaued the rest of the time. And so to me, it's like, it's measured, continuous growth, challenging yourself, pushing yourself a little out of your comfort zone, and just leveling up one level at a time in life, like slowly but surely. I think that's another reason this has made me a little uneasy, because this feels like a sudden big level up, right?
Right.
Like the slow, consistent little levels up, I feel like no matter what your domain is, for us we're talking about YouTube, but it could be in your profession or with your relationship with your family, whatever it is, like consistently just getting a little bit better than the day before. If your goal is to maximize the grams of dopamine that go to the brain, I think, man, that's the secret. And so that's about living in the moment and enjoying each day and not getting caught up in like some big thing in the future, but just every day getting a little bit. It feels like a platitude, but honestly, to me, that has brought me some content and peace, thinking about it that way.
Well, that's smart. You sound like you from a couple weeks ago, by the way. You don't sound different. And based on what you're telling me, I think that's good because, the level up plan is sustainable. That's something in which there's fulfillment and life and something you can share with other people forever. And golly, dude, I hope you have dozens more days like what the last 2 days have been for you. But the reality is, that might just be a really special couple of days.
For sure.
And if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like that would be okay.
Yeah, totally. That's totally. And ironically, as you're saying that, my channel just hit 5 million subscribers.
We need to applaud. Good job, Mark. Good job. Congratulations, man. Wow. But I think I know you well enough to know that it's not about dopamine. It's not a dopamine hit, right? I mean, like, you're a relational human. Like, you value relationships with people. And I think there's some, I don't know what it, like for me, leveling up in the way you're, it's hard because no matter what we say, we're going to sound shallow or whatever because, I mean, these are things that people think about but nobody can articulate. But for me, leveling up recently has started looking like being able to sit down and read a book with the kids or, I don't know. It's like I'm hearing you talking about your neighbors and that relationship with your neighbors and how important that is to you. That feels like a well-rounded thing to value.
Yeah, and all that. yeah, all that was just to say, like, the dopamine thing is just a way to break down to, like, the first principles of even when you sit down with your kids, right? Like, that's just a scientific way, I guess, of saying that, like,
Yep.
oh, you feel better about that situation, right? You're feeling good about life.
Yeah, it's dude. This is. I feel like we're putting our finger right on the heart of everything right now. You know, because if 21-year-old Mark Rover had been, somebody sat you down and briefed you on, hey, look, here's the deal. December 2018, you're going to pour in all of your engineering skill, all of your social with-itness. You're going to pour everything into this thing, and it's going to make a lot of people feel things, and you're going to make people think about blah, 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 and everyone's going to love you. Like that happened. Like, you wouldn't be able to wrap your brain around that at a young age.
For sure.
And I feel like the Mark Rover I'm talking to right now gets it and understands that everything that you have right now, even the $5 million, it's awesome, but it's fleeting. And it's, I don't know. I think,
Totally.
yeah, and I don't know. I think that's why I'm so happy that it's happening to you.
Yeah, it's kind of like this reminds me a little bit of, like, if you can stay grounded like this, it's like the phrase, this too shall pass, which, like, can kind of have two meanings. Like, in some ways, if things are going really amazing, it's like, or I guess typically I think people view it as like, oh, if things are going really bad, like, hang in there, endure, this too shall pass, right? So don't worry, you're going to return to the mean. But there's the other flip side to it, is like, if you're doing something awesome and it's like, oh, you get 5 million subscribers, it's like, hey, pal, don't get too thinking you're so awesome, because this too shall pass, right? So it's like helping to keep your brain in this aspect of, like, look, there's a regression to the mean. You're going to have really lows, you're going to have really highs. Just remember that, like, it's somewhere in between, and like that just helps keep you grounded, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot easier when you're lucky to have what you have right now. Use your time and energy and investment at family and relationships,
Right.
and
We all
there's
have
a
that.
big difference
Sure.
when you have this conversation with somebody who's had a well-earned great run and is still on that wave, who is going through that alone.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that conversation with somebody who's got roots deep in the ground with relationships and responsibilities like that,
Totally.
yeah, you're well equipped to handle the good that comes with it. And I know that because I have this podcast microphone, and that makes me an authority. Who's well equipped to handle things. It's $200. You can buy it and become an authority too, anyone. Mark, not to be too abrupt in changing the subject, but I think the next sensation that's going to sweep the internet is going to be these color swatches that I'm taking from the paint store here in town. And I want to give you a chance to get in on the ground floor with this.
So can I tell him what's going on?
Yeah.
So
please.
Matt has been posting for several days now. Matt has been posting these color swatches with names, and it's like, Granny Smith apple or whatever for a green. And I've been watching them, and I'm like, man, these are like, one of them was called Grandpa's Stool, and it was brown. And I was like, yeah, man, I guess whoever named that could be like thinking about like Cracker Barrel, like Grandpa's Stool in the shop, his workshop, or I'm like, what's going on? And then Matt just revealed to me just before you got on the phone that he has been photoshopping these names into them, and he's gradually making them more and more ridiculous. So yeah.
It's my plan, and people just started to catch on. So
Wait,
here's
hold
where we
on.
started.
Let me understand this. So you are
Just go to his Twitter, Mark. Go to his
Okay,
Twitter.
well, but I think this is actually genius. So you're taking these, you're photoshopping it, and then you're not actually putting them in the store, are you? Or you're just photoshopping it on?
You've helped me take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Dude, it's amazing. That's a good idea.
We might,
You walk up, you're
we
like,
might need to edit this part out because I don't want someone stealing Mark's idea that's my idea.
you're like, I think the main one will be Grandpa's Stool with a trim of Kelly Clarkson.
Oh god, dude. Go look at, Mark, go look at Matt Whitman TMPH real quick. I just saw the Pelican ones.
Yeah, okay, so soft pelican is real.
Dude, I thought Shroot was real. You did that?
No, I made that. I found a mustard swatch and I renamed it Shroot.
I'm really proud of it.
Golly, man.
So it's been fun to watch people.
Hold on.
Gradually start to
Freedom
question
from
this.
Information Act.
Yeah, it's Freedom of Information Act Black. It's redacted, man.
Just scroll down, make it better. Man, this was. I think what I like about this is I wasn't in on the joke, and I'm usually in on your jokes.
Soft.
Yeah, I'm excited to
hard. Dude, this is you. Oh, this is powerful.
Is mermaid cheeks
So-
real? Tell me mermaid cheeks. Is
Some of these are real. Mermaid Cheeks is real. Some of these are real.
I see.
And that's the thing, is I was hoping people would go and like Google some of the paint names, because I'm warming them up for the old Switch. So I hope people would go and Google happy endings and be like, wait, he would not do that's very offensive. That has a meaning. And then they Google the paint name and they're like, oh, no, he wouldn't put something offensive like that. That's real.
That is amazing.
Happy endings is real.
But now they're becoming worse. Happy endings is real.
What about Fava Bean?
Shroot, Hard Pelican, Grandpa's Stool, and Freedom of Information Act are false. Fava Bean, Happy Endings, Pickled Ginger, all those are real, man.
Dude, this is you're onto something here.
Oh, they're gonna get so much worse, guys. Do you want me to read you some of the ones that are coming up?
Yeah.
Because I've got a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Okay, this is.
And by the way, guys,
So
I do have I got to bail in just a minute.
Do you want us just to round it out?
Oh, get a few views on the internet. Now I have appointments.
You're not the same, Rover.
Now that I hit 5 million, everything's changed.
No, it ate mid
Hey, let's do
podcast.
an over/under on when Mark passes Smarter every day. I'm thinking a week and a
Makes
half.
me sad even to say this, Destin.
I think
It will
it's this
not
month.
happen.
Yeah.
What? How many do you subscribers do you even have right now?
Over
16
6.
something, right?
Oh, dude, it'll be a week and a half. You'll pass me.
That's got that video has so much legs
Yeah,
left
there
in
is
it.
some inertia on this video. I feel sad if that does happen. I feel like that shouldn't happen. And this feels
There's
like
nothing to be
cheating.
sad about. You've done a great job. It's
It's awesome, dude.
Cheating by making a great video and having people love it.
Honestly,
whatever.
yeah, doing it honest and by hard work and ingenuity. Yeah, this is so awful.
You think I apologized and felt guilty when I made that video about poop and literally thousands of people watching? No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so do we need to round you out here, Mark? Let you
Yeah,
go.
round me up.
Mark, thank you so much for spending the time. And like seriously, it is an honor. You could have done a lot of stuff with this moment.
Okay.
And to get on Noted Questions with us is frankly humbling.
This is the pinnacle, dude. All I gotta say, the dog has caught the truck. Alright, the dog has caught the truck.
Dude, I'm a garbage truck.
Yeah, let's be sure to get you to a Trash Panda game, and I'm sure we'll be seeing each other in text land here shortly. So
Sounds good,
Mark,
guys.
high five. Well earned, dude. Nice job.
Thanks.
Nice job.
Thank you. And this was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I appreciate the opportunity.
Likewise.
thanks, man. Yep.
Cool, buddy.
All right,
Keep
guys.
crushing it. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.